by asking you all a little question. How many times have you moved forward with a decision because somebody gave you a little shove? When you had no faith in yourself, how many times did a few words or a seemingly insignificant gesture stay in your memory for days, for weeks, maybe years, and have influenced the way you live your life up until today? How many times do you think you've affected another person's this way? Or simply your words, your gestures, either through a motivating smile or through mocking eyes. How many times do you think people have turned down a good opportunity or welcomed them with open arms because of you? I stand here before you now to tell you this, that no words or actions of yours are insignificant. They will carry their weight further than you can ever imagine. 6 years ago, my life was very different. I just graduated from business school, naturally progressing through life like a proper, obedient Chinese daughter. I moved on to work in treasury with my family's company, and then one night, I met Ali. Ali worked with UKEAS, and we talked in passing for barely 5 minutes. But that one singular conversation shaped the courage and the curiosity that led me here, standing in front of you. It was within that encounter that I decided to man up. So I applied for Design University abroad without yet telling my parents. I researched and researched until I had all the applications, all the approvals, all the confirmations, and information ready in one singular clear book that I handed my father, shaking, one evening. And you know what he said? All he said was, "Okay, Kitty, how can I help?" And that was when I realized that I didn't need to be afraid of my parents because they wanted the best for me above anybody else. 5 minutes, that was all I needed from a stranger. And 1 minute of insane courage, handing that folder to my father. And a few months later, I was off to London for my postgraduate degree in design. And that was... Allow me to give you a little bit about myself. I'm Kate, a furniture designer by profession, working in the design and manufacture of all sorts of woods, from one-of-a-kind 12-foot dining tables for residential establishments to stacks and stacks of desks and chairs for commercial establishments. Now, some of you may think, she was sent to the right schools, she was given all the right opportunities, but let me just stop you there. I'm a Cebuana. I came from a very, very firm, conservative, and traditional household in Cebu. I came to Manila. I was sent here to study business. And being the provinciana that I was so terrified of talking to new people. I kept to myself most of the time, and it wasn't until one evening when Sam and Dave, two friends that I had from the batch assembly, came up to me and invited me to a meeting. Well, I was the finance head of my batch at the time, so it made sense for me to go. But when I arrived in the room, there was no meeting. As it turns out, the seniors of the political party that I would eventually become a part of talked to me about joining the next student council elections. That one evening shaped the rest of my university life, which was 3 whole years where I learned to speak up, to explore my creativity, and to establish meaningful connections with everyone around me. I learned to exchange ideas with little to no fear. It took one ordinary yes to a meeting. For us to try something new, all we really need is to hear someone say 4 words. You can do this. Girl, you got this. I've got your back. I believe in you. But sometimes, get off your butt. 4 words, and that's all the encouragement we need to try something new. Should I introduce myself? Should I go for it? These little thoughts lead to what I call the 3 a.m. conversations. The conversations that start with a little courage to take a call that can go on and on until morning. Such mornings are prompted by a single encounter. Like one evening, I was rushing into Wildflower, late to a dinner, and found myself seated next to him and said hello. That one encounter changed everything. So 3 a.m. conversations, we've all had them. We look at them fondly, or for some of us, we look back in regret for maybe a lot of things left unsaid. Now, who among you guys, when invited to come here, first wondered, who do I ask to come with me? Would you have come up here if you didn't know anybody else? The me back then would have just stayed home and watched the recaps on YouTube. But the me now would come up here, wide-eyed, by myself maybe, like some of you. Because true enough, we all have the ability to go through life alone. We will survive, no question about it. But life isn't only about survival. It's about connection, about relationships, and shared experiences. When there's only one of us, we feel fear and uncertainty. But add just another person to the equation, and suddenly we feel powerful. We feel almost invincible. Because even a captain needs a captain to navigate. Or a surgeon needs a nurse to save a life. Or a decorated general needs an army to protect his country. Now, 2 could just be a number, but it's so much better and easier to be doing things together. We're now well aware of how much of a difference that makes. Lunch breaks, for example, on the first day of class, none of us are wondering whether we will pass calculus or not. We're just thinking, who can I sit with during lunch? And there's the power of 2. That's as simple as it gets. It's so much better to be doing things together. 1 minute of insane courage, handing that folder to my father. 1 bad decision that becomes your wake-up call. 1 ordinary decision that turns out to be the best one. And 1 yes for me to take this opportunity to stand here very terrified before all of you. That's all you need. And so moving forward, I'll continue to shift my focus onto all the littlest things. Like very recently, I started having Monday lunches with my team. And what started as simple briefing sessions to touch base quickly turned into heartfelt, productive afternoons with my team. It gave me a whole new perspective. And most importantly, I learned to listen to the smallest voices. And some time ago, when I just started doing yoga, I was always rushing out of the office at 6 p.m. And my staff noticed because I was trying to catch 6:40 class back home. And on my birthday that year, my workers with so little to spare, they work day by day. They managed to pitch in to buy me a yoga mat. And also, I learned to appreciate the smallest gestures. In all the littlest things, let's choose to do them with care. Let's learn to put down our phones on some days and have an actual conversation with people that we're so close to taking for granted. Let's take care of the little words we throw our mother before leaving the house each morning, and the little words of criticism we give ourselves as we look in the mirror. Take care of the few extra minutes you spend snoozing your alarms, something I'm still very much guilty of. Because the little things, they become the big things. They become everything. Each one of you here, I see your faces. Each of you has the potential to be that 5 minutes, to be that 4 words, that 3 a.m. conversation, that partner that makes up a 2, or that 1 minute of insane courage to somebody. And you won't even know it when it's happening. I didn't know it either until 6 years later, and I'm drafting this talk, and I remember Ali. Wherever she has settled in, she may never know the full impact that she's made in my life, or the series of transformations that resulted from our very, very brief encounter. I need us to understand here and now how incredibly powerful we are to each other's lives. And we may never even know it when it's happening. If I could make even just one of you understand how powerful you are to your seatmate here and influencing him, or your taxi driver, or your receptionist, the one that led you here, the person seated next to you, to make their days, their habits, and their relationships better, then I've done my part for today. Then the organizers of this event have done their part in reaching out to me. And then all these little, seemingly modest actions have done their part as a ripple in the ocean. And I thank you all for being here. Thank you for that small decision to come in and be with me today.